During World War One, in 1917, the British government announced its intention to establish in Palestine territory a home for the Jewish people, called the Balfour Declaration. Later in 1922, the League of Nations granted Britain a mandate over Palestine, which included, among other things, the establishment of Jewish homeland and a settlement on Palestine land. Rival Arab nations also claimed rights over the former Ottoman territories and sought to prevent Jewish migration into Palestine, leading to growing Arab and Jewish tensions. The Arabs continued to oppose Jewish immigration to Palestine and developed attacks against them. The British appointed a royal commission in 1936 to investigate the Palestine situation. The commission consisted in the partition of the country between Arabs and Jews. The Arabs rejected this solution, while the Jewish supported. Then, later in World War II, Hitler was murdering and torturing Jews in the Holocaust. The Jews, in response, escaped to Palestine. Because of that, Jewish people performed a movement called Zionism. Zionism emerged in the late 19th century. Between 1945 and 1948, 100,000 and 170,000 Jews left Poland. Their departure was legally organized by Zionist activities in Poland under the umbrella of the organization Beriah. Beriah was also responsible for the organized immigration of Jews from Romania, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. Jewish migrators that came to Palestine were around 200,000 people and were mainly Holocaust survivors. Also, they were held in camps inside the country, including large number of children, and orphans were also in response to Palestine fears that the Jews will never leave the country, and because 75,000 quota established by the 1939 White Paper had never been filled, the British allowed the refugees to enter Palestine at a rate of 750 persons per month. Despite British efforts to eliminate immigration, during 14 years of immigration, over 100,000 Jews entered Palestine. By the end of World War II, the Jewish people of Palestine had increased at 33% of the total population. After the massive migration of Jewish people into Palestine, many wars between Arabs and Jews were happening, leaving Britain with the conclusion that they could no longer manage Palestine, so they handed it over the UN. In November 29 of 1947, the UN, after being in charge of Palestine, recommended the partition of Palestine into two parts, one Jewish and the other one Arab. But once again, the Arabs rejected the idea, while the Jewish accepted the idea. The British mandate over Palestine finished officially in May 14, 1948, but earlier in that day, Ben-Gurion proclaimed the creation of the State of Israel and became its prime minister, and the longtime advocate of Zionism in Britain, Chaim Weizmann, became Israel's first president. Also, as soon as David Ben-Gurion proclaimed the creation of Israel, the US President Harry S. Truman recognized the new nation the same day. 1 year later, after the independence of Israel, massive fights took place over Israel and Palestinian territory, in which the results were good for the Jewish and bad for the Palestinians. After that fight, Israel took control of 76% of the original territory, leaving Palestine with the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip. Israel had to face many challenges to be what it is today, but today it is the nation of 43% of the world's total Jews and also is the largest Jewish community in the world. Israel realized that it needed peace with neighbor countries, so in 1979 it made an uneasy peace pact with Egypt. Also, in 1994, Israel and Jordan signed a peace treaty. Also, Israel realized that it needed foreign friends. Since about 1970, the United States has become the principal ally of Israel. Also, after the influence of the United States, Israel passed from a socialist country to a capitalist country with free market economy, and it remains like that nowadays.